What you can see at the moment are the arrival from Wattisham of the Apaches. Looking very sinister, I always think, when I see these aircraft. But a very impressive display they put on yesterday, and we look forward to a repeat performance today. These Apaches, of course, are the latest version of this amazing aircraft. You'll hear more about them during their display, of course, but their capability is mind-blowing. As I was saying, they join us today on the Army's base at Wattisham up near Ipswich. Very something that way. And we're delighted to see him here once again today. On the RAF's former frontline air defence fighter, the Tornado F3, as well as tours as a qualified flying instructor on the Hawk, the Grob tutor in both the University Air Squadron and elementary flying training roles, and on the new Grob Prefect. And he takes them through now in Stinger formation, round the side path, showing you the bellies of the aircraft. Simon Shirley, the team leader, currently a full-time reservist qualified flying instructor and Air Experience Flight Commander on the Universities of Wales Air Squadron at St Athan, which means he's back flying the Grob Tutor. Sid joined the RAF straight out of school, was able to fly jets before he got a driving licence, became a frontline Tornado F3 pilot aged just 22. He's been the team leader for the past few seasons. Really, really nice aeroplane for this sort of display, the Vans RB8. One of the most popular home-built aircraft in history. Yes, this is a type of aircraft you can build in your garage, in your home if it's large enough. And it's easy to see why it's so popular. Really nice for touring purposes, as a fairly basic private owner aeroplane, but it's well equipped and it's got this aerobatic capability, as well as being very good to get in and out of short strips with. So no wonder it's proved such a success, and no wonder it's proved the mount for a good many display teams. So in they come in front of us, the whole 7-ship formation, entering a really, really big barrel roll. So named because the aircraft are, in effect, rolling around the inside of an imaginary barrel lying on its side, describing that figure. And now we see two members of the team break away. Those are Ravens 6 and 7, and they're going to be positioning out in front of us. You can see them doing it now. Onto what we call the B-axis. When we talk about the A-axis of display, that's the display line running parallel to the main runway here at Duxford. The B-axis is the one at right angles to that. Ravens 6 and 7 now heading in towards the display datum, the centre point of the display, pulling up. Going vertical, but rolling in the vertical, twisting their formation. And we'll see them doing something similar again as they head back in towards us. And these 2 halves of the manoeuvre in total making up a quarter clover length. Raven 6, the pilot leading the 2 aircraft there, is Gerald Williams, former professional rugby player, now a businessman from the Swansea area, private pilot for 25 years, but he's got a good amount of time on ex-military jet airplanes. Now in come Ravens 1 to 5, with numbers 1, 2 and 3 in big formation, and 4 and 5 barrel rolling very nicely around their smoke trails. That they call the corkscrew. They're getting into what they dub Apollo formation. And it gives me a moment to talk about Raven 7, the second, as they get ready for the crossing break. Ravens 1 to 4 are now going to be rejoining, while number 5 exits for the moment. Well, he's got a good deal of aerobatic display experience already. This is his first season with Team Raven. And as the 4-ship there completes that wing over, we're looking out now once again for Ravens 6 and 7. There they are in front of us. Gerald Williams, number 6, calling easing up, pulling back on the stick, putting the smoke on, separating, and yes, this is their salute to you. This is the Team Raven part. And it's pierced by the smoke of Raven 5, which is Mark Southern, an ex-RAF pilot on the Tornado GR1 strike aircraft and the Jet Provost. Like Gerald Williams, he has flown ex-military jet aircraft 1 to 4. And these are the caterpillar loops. We'll see them pulling up in sequence 1, 2, 3 and 4. Their effort to draw the Audi company logo is the skies. And this is the point where the whole team rejoins in formation. Raven 3 for this season is Peter Wells, another very seasoned display pilot who went solo on his 16th birthday in a glider. He's still very enthusiastic about gliding. He ended up specialising as an aircraft engineer, and he runs a company called Zulu Glass Tech, which specialises in composite aircraft maintenance and sales. Very experienced glider tug pilot, and well known on the display circuit as part of the Twister aerobatic team with those gorgeous little silenced Twister ultralights that we saw a few years ago. He's very well versed in air shows because apart from the Chinook, he's displayed in the Yakovlev's team of Yak 50s, he's displayed Stearman, Piper Cub, and he's been on rolls away. Cambridge Gliding Centre have got another of their gliders on display in the static park here at Duo Discus, and you can go and talk to the team about the various glider flight experiences that they mount from Gransden Lodge. An excellent way to go flying indeed. I mean, we look at that straight into a knife edge on takeoff, and then on the display power to weight ratio of this one-off S2S special as Rich Goodwin heads into the vertical. Not just the standard Lycoming engine at his disposal, but also two small gas turbines associated with it. Those engines, a pair of Lynx gas turbines of about 300 pounds thrust each, as he snap rolls up and away, pulling out inverted. They join the Lycoming 0540 engine, which gives him about 300 horsepower. And he really does use all of it in this display. Here he is, coming round in an inverted flat turn, and then a series of what he calls shoulder rolls, pulling out onto the display centre point, heading directly in. Pulling up negative G rolls, very, very uncomfortable for Rich. All the blood rushing to his head as he does that, and recovering back onto the B-axis. Pulling out on the main A-axis once again. Again, he exits inverted for a time, and then pushes again, experiencing a very uncomfortable negative G, into a partial outside loop with rolls on the down line. apart from the addition of the gas turbine engines, this is a very heavily modified pit special. In particular, you'll notice the wing and tail profiles are very different. That's with helping to point out the outstanding rate of roll that Rich has at his disposal.
So what they'll do, they'll pull forward and then break up. And the crossover at the top there. Smoke on to create our lovely heart. So this is the first show, I believe, this year that they've started doing that heart manoeuvre. They've been practicing it all winter.
Fantastic.
And where they cross back over, they both swivel back out there. So now we're going to go into the oppos, the opposition passes.
This aircraft, in the original colours it wore in service with what was then the Royal Indian Air Force, being provided to India on that country's independence in 1947. It was only in service for a couple of years. It was put back into those markings, those original markings, in time for last season's displays. In for another low-level strafing run. Griffin engine.
Yep, and then we come out the vents.
There she goes. The Chinook is deployed operationally all over the world and is the go-to aircraft for rapid insertion and extraction of troops in dangerous locations. The defence saying was always, the answer is two Chinooks, what's the question? We'll start the day by seeing the aircraft conduct a wing over, rapidly turning back onto target, trading its speed for height and back again. At this point, the crew will begin preparing to drop off troops onto target. As the aircraft runs in for a downwind quick stop, they will simulate a lake spot of a landing site to offload troops and vehicles inside the aircraft. This is either on or off the battlefield. The crew must be efficient in recceing their landing site, making sure it's suitable to land on in the minimum time to avoid threat exposure. Having found their site, they're now making their approach. Crewman Josh up front will be giving voice marshalling directions to Cal, talking him forward and down onto the landing site and monitoring the height of the aircraft as she comes into land. Our crewman on the ramp today is Flight Sergeant Dave Sims. Born and raised in Margate, Kent, he joined the RAF in 2014. He's been on the Chinook force since 2017 and is a qualified helicopter crewman instructor with over 2,000 hours. He's completed many overseas exercises and operational deployments, enjoys playing golf in and out of work, and also has the ability to glow in the dark. As you can see, the ramp's now gone down. Dave's on the ramp clearing the troops and vehicles to exit the aircraft. Riding into the roll demo with style today, we have the members of JHSS, and keep an eye on that quad bike throughout the display to just see how capable these critical enablers are. The cab now departs with the troop and quad bike unloaded and conducts what we call an over-the-shoulder departure. This is a defensive manoeuvre that presents the armoured floor of the aircraft towards the enemy. This gives the aircraft and those inside the greatest chance of protection from any threats on the ground. With the aircraft now turned away, Cal will climb the aircraft to return and provide some mutual support to the troops on the ground. This allows a pair of Chinooks to land in sequence without the loss of any airborne protection, and if we had guns fitted today, which unfortunately we don't other than those that Cal has, you would see Dave and Josh ready to employ those crew-served weapons. The Chinook can be fitted with an M16 machine gun on the ramp and two M134 miniguns on the port and starboard side, each capable of firing 3,000 rounds a minute or 50 rounds a second, and that's one hell of a noise. Chinook and its crew can protect itself and deter engagements, protecting its passengers and any troops on the ground. It's now time to introduce our co-pilot for today. So joining Cal in the cockpit is Flight Lieutenant Jacob Cameron Johnson, or CJ as we know him. Originally from Cottingham in East Riding of Yorkshire, he joined the RAF in 2016, was awarded his wings in 2021. CJ is the baby of the team, or the Sprog as we call him, joining the front line in 2023, but despite this has already deployed overseas on operations and multiple exercises. He's an avid Formula 1 fan, but forget the revs of an F1 car, CJ. We all know the best noise in the world is a bit of blade slap. Next up, the team will run in and reposition again. This is where they'll be showcasing an exciting, dangerous capability of the Chinook. The crew run in for a fast roping approach, decelerating the aircraft rapidly to accurately dispatch troops onto a tight landing site. This could be a rooftop or the deck of a ship, but today it's in front of you, lucky devils. Josh is in the starboard door now, prepping the ropes, ready to supervise the dispatch of troops. Dave is also on the ramp preparing the ropes. You see now the ropes have been deployed, and we can simultaneously dispatch from 4 ropes if required. 1 from the door, 1 from the centre hatch, and 2 from the ramp, whether they are flash ropes or abseil ropes depending on the task. 30 troops can be deployed whilst in the hover in less than 2 minutes. It's not just troops, it's heavy kit and even furry land sharks as we know them, or military dogs to the common. Unfortunately, there was no live troops or dogs today. This is due to operational reasons and commitments. With the troops all dispatched, Cal now departs for another over the shoulder, and again presenting that floor to the enemy. And as they pulled away, you would have seen Josh in the door pulling that 60-foot roping and getting a hell of a sweat on. To that note, we'll introduce Josh in the door. Sergeant Josh Lyons is from Staffordshire. He joined the RAF in 2014 and changed to a weapons system operator in 2017. In his 5 years, Josh has accumulated 1,200 hours on the Chinook, deployed all over the world on exercises and multiple operations. He prides himself on being the world's biggest Wolverhampton Wanderers fan and lives local to RAF Odeon with his French bulldog Cody. The crew are now returning to pick up the quad bike, which has rapidly been prepared by JHSS on the airfield as an underslung load. Underslung loads are the bread and butter of the Chinook force, with all crew members front and back working together to manoeuvre the 99-foot long helicopter into a fine-tuned position. When it comes to heavy lift, size matters. As Cal positions in the overhead of the underslung load under Josh's direction, Dave is looking through the centre hatch to safely direct the pickup of the quad bike, with all 4 crew working in synchronisation, with the JHSS team operating beneath the hovering aircraft. You'll notice the 2 hookers now holding their arms up. One is holding a static discharge probe. They touch the hook with this first to dissipate any static electricity, which is particularly important when operating in dusty environments like the desert, to save that nasty shock. Used in operations moving stores, freight, vehicles everywhere from Afghanistan to Whaley Bridge and everywhere in between. The Chinook can have 3 underslung loads and carry up to 11.3 tonnes on its centre hook alone. The quad bike weighs just 350 kilograms, but if it can be rigged, the Chinook and JHS can take it. Being such a capable aircraft, it can even pick up another Chinook, albeit with a few bits cut off to save weight. With a maximum all-up weight of 24.5 tonnes, which is 2 double-decker buses, this workhorse has seats for 30 troops inside and can overload to 55 with belts on the floor. The raw power and versatility of the Chinook is all down to its iconic tandem rotor design. It provides huge amounts of lift and a large cabin, and is the go-to aircraft for armies across the world. While the aircraft's in the circuit, I'll take this opportunity to introduce our JHSS team. Leading JHS today, we have Corporal Jordan, who served with the British Army for 9 years, Lance Corporal Rowbutton, who served since 2010, Air Trooper Paul Stripe, who served in the Army Air Corps for 5 years, and finally AS1 Daniel Gray, who serves with 606 Reserve Squadron. Now if you look at that unhappy quad bike under the helicopter, the crew will be monitoring this load during all stages of flight. As you can see by the swing, road vehicles aren't big fans of heights. The crews will be manoeuvring the aircraft to counteract the swing as the load hits the airflow. The aircraft is now returning to drop off the underslung load using what we call the operational drop-off. This is a combined rapid drop-off of a load and the strops so they can egress away quickly from the threat. This is used in dusty and high-threat environments to get supplies rapidly onto the battlefield. Dave will now be in the centre hatch, voice marshalling the load onto the ground before they then go for that operational release. The aircraft now conducts another over the shoulder, presenting the belly of the aircraft once again to the enemy. The aircraft now sets off into yet another wing over, as they're then going to go and set up for a running landing. As he conducts the wing over, he's pulling up to 30 degrees nose up and then up to 60 degrees angular bank as he comes round the turn. The running landing is used in situations where performance is limited. This may be due to hot and high environments like the desert or high above sea level landing sites. It's also routinely practiced for emergency handling. It is often our preferred landing style in the event of a single engine failure that precludes us being able to hover. As Cal comes into land, we all love popping a wheelie on our BMXs as children. Now watch Cal do one more 38 feet away from the aft wheels in a 16.5-ton helicopter. At this point, Josh is monitoring the height beneath the front wheels, while Dave monitors the aft disc. At 26 degrees nose up, the aft rotor blades would strike the ground. We will not be demonstrating that today. The teamwork amongst the crew allows for effective information to be passed to Cal and CJ as they handle this magnificent machine. As the aircraft pulls to a stop, it's now time for the Chinook's party piece, as one of the only helicopters in the world that can reverse on 2 wheels. the aircraft lifts once more, Dave is going to have the best seat in the house. He's on the ramp looking out at all you lovely people here today. In case you can't spot him, he's the one with the big orange hands waving at you, or Wavy Dave as we like to call him. Dave didn't apply sun cream today, so as a result his hands are a little red. He's quite embarrassed about this, so make him happy by giving him a big wave as he goes past. While they progress down the flight line, I'd like to take this opportunity, in the absence of one Bob to the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, I'd like to thank our own Bob, who's our Chinook team display manager. Bob recently received a Meritorious Service Medal in last week's King Birthday Honours. He served over 40 years in arguably one of the most experienced Chinook aircrew in the entire world. So as much as it would probably embarrass Bob and get me killed, could I get a large Duxford round of applause for his service? As the team prepare for their audition of Strictly Come Dancing with some pirouettes, let's do a shout out to the people on the ground that make this all happen. The Chinook is supported by a huge team that keeps the airframes functional and airworthy 365 days a year, holding national standby and readiness commitments for worldwide operations. It's worth noting that the Chinook crews flying today exclusively from frontline units, and our roll demo activities are conducted around normal operational commitments. Thanks to the tireless work of our aircrew, engineers, ops and survival equipment specialists and all other supporting functions that has enabled this team to deliver this demo for you today. All good things must come to an end, folks, so to end the show today, like any performer, you'll see a bow from the cockpit and the crew flash their lights. And then you'll get to watch the incredible Gorny climb. This was named after the base in Bosnia where the Chinook demonstrated its incredible power, dominating other helicopter types during the Kosovo War. With that feat, Duxford, the demo is at an end. So one more time everyone, please put your hands together for the 2025 Chinook Royal Demonstration.
Paul, thank you very much indeed. Great to see a Chinook back at Duxford after several years' absence, and we look forward to doing so again in the future. But it's a very welcome contribution, not least given the amount of operational activity that the whole of the Joint Aviation Command Support Helicopter Force is engaged with at the moment. Now we've seen the likes of Brendan O'Brien and Rich Goodwin and Team Raven up to now, some of the real favourites from the airshow scene. And Colin, we've got another one coming up.
Yes, this is going to be the glamorous part of the show, as it were, because we're going to watch the antics and the excitement of the wing walkers, and I'm joined by a retired wing walker, and that's Katie from Aero Superbatics.
Hello.
I'd say you're retired, you're far too young to have retired, but maybe just retired from this.
Retired from wing walking. I was here in 2017 and 2018, and I flew with Dave and Kirsten on Kirsten's first season. I think this might have been one of her first shows. She's now in her 8th season, so she's been doing it a long time.
Makes her a veteran, does it?
It does. I think she is on par with, I think there's two. She's now one of our oldest wing walkers that's done it for the longest amount of time. So she's doing very well, and then she's got Emma with her as well. Emma's in her 5th season, and she actually joined us when we had a space, and her and Kirsten have been friends since primary school.
Wow.
So they've been knowing each other a long time, so know each other in and out and make a really good combination for the team.
I bet when they were in primary school, they never imagined that they'd be doing this.
No, not at all. So Kirsten has a background of trapeze, and Emma used to be a dancer.
Right.
So all very sort of athletic professions that really help us do our routine.
Just saying, have a background in trapeze is a bit of a conversation stopper, isn't it?
It is rather. Yeah, she worked in a circus school for quite a long time and still does that part-time as well. She still teaches trapeze every now and then.
And we should point out that this is professional in the sense that this is their day job, this is their proper job.
It is, yes. So throughout the week they're running what we call our club days, which are when the public can come to our airfield and they can pay and they can come and have an experience with us. The team you see here today will be the team flying you, or it would be myself that would also be working there, and one of our other wing walkers called Libby. So we all work there, and also the two pilots here flying today, they would more than likely be flying you on the day as well. And we have a glorious airfield in the Cotswolds that you can come and experience this. So if you like what you see.
Yeah, Renkum.
Renkum outside Cirencester.
Lovely, lovely part of the world.
So they're just taking off now, and they're going to spin into a handstand. So the rigs that they sit on spin and swivel, which aids them to go into all these crazy different studs at different angles.
As they head towards the end of their display, the team is sponsored by Gravity Global, a PR company, and it was their backing that enabled the Stomps to appear at the Farnborough Air Show last year for the first time. This all came about when in 2022 backing came in from Gravity, owing to the then owner of the firm, Paul Anderson, being a Stomp owner and enthusiast himself. And so they are making their way back towards the display centre again, ready for an opposition break. Over because here's Richard Ward again, showing us some real classic aerobatics in his Renault engine stop. As the others pass by below. And they're all giving you a wave as they go past on this last individual run as Richard cavorts behind them. There's a wartime history associated with this aircraft because a Stomp that was in Belgium when war broke out was taken in secret by two Belgian pilots, Michael Donnet and Léon Givoy, and flown across to England, where it was impressed into the Royal Air Force. They're coming past one last time to show your appreciation for an immaculate display, really well executed on a pretty gusty day, and they're giving you a wing waggle as they come by. Richard Meredith, the first of them through, followed by Roger Bishop, then Richard Burliand in the red and yellow aeroplane, and joining on the back of them the team leader Richard Ward. Three Richards and a Roger. in they come to land then. The first aircraft is registered GOOD, good. And that was a personal registration applied by another very famous aerobatic pilot who used to own and operate this aircraft, Richard Good. Dick Norman, who founded the Aerosystatics Wing Walkers, also flew that very stomp. Next, Roger Bishop's aeroplane, the largely white one with red stripes. Then the one in the classic Tiger Club colours, the red and yellow one of Richard Burlian. And then with a bit of a side slip in over the motorway onto the grass comes Richard Ward. Together they were the Stomp Formation Display Team. Now it's back to the current British military for our next item and a bit of an air show first. And here to tell you all about it is Captain Alex Schofield.
Hello Ben, thank you very much. Hello Duxford. This is the Army Air Corps display team, and in front of you we have two Apache AH attack helicopters made by Boeing. And to their right we have Leonardo AW159 Wildcat, ready to take off and show you how the Army Air Corps uses the world's most advanced battlefield helicopters in a time of conflict.
ATR, tally target, identified hostile SAM, 3.2 kilometers, tip in, 170, action missile. Euro, missile from the left rail.
Hidden pair of Army Air Corps Apache AH-64E attack helicopters run in. They're abreast for maximum firepower, able to fire a next-generation Hellfire missile from up to 12 kilometers away. Now they run in to search for further targets.
Good effect on target, radar destroyed. Supporting armor and dismount scene, re-attack from the east, rocket to gun.
At crowd right, throw the aircraft into a rapid return to target manoeuvre, while the front seat co-pilot gunners will be working to identify any further targets among the dust and debris of the initial strike. On this pass, if the mission commander is satisfied the enemy air defence is destroyed, the gunships can climb and identify all enemy threats from above. This is done through the use of advanced thermal targeting cameras, and in the cockpit, crews would conduct a set of pre-engagement checks.
We are recording, arcs clear, clearance is self-defense, acquisition source Tango 03, site is tabs, rocket selected, go co-op. Roger, going co-op, 4 rockets for effect, weapons armed and action. De-escalate nav range, match and shoot.
Enemy movement is seen and gunship 1 and 2 dive on the target, engaging with 70mm high explosive Hydra rockets. If aircraft sensors were to pick up the thermal image of enemy troops, the pilots would then execute another return to target manoeuvre, allowing the aircraft to follow up the attack with 30mm cannon and rockets if required.
Great, man pass, 12 o'clock, flares, re-attack from Charlie 2, Dark and rockets. Good effect on target, 4 enemy vehicles destroyed, radar select, eliminated. Pilot helmet sight, dismount HMG, my gun, auto range, firing.
Once satisfied, enemy positions are clear of enemy forces, the Apache pair can climb into Overwatch. They'll be out of gunfire threat, but able to destroy any enemy targets that may remain. To your right, the Wildcat conducts a rapid reposition. It's now in a position to drop off a small team of friendly troops. With the attack helicopters providing security of the objective, the Wildcats can insert a team of Rangers from the Army Special Operations Brigade. The Wildcat provides close support to the team with its 12.7mm heavy machine gun, mounted on the far side of the aircraft to you now.
Good spot, target rounds. All targets destroyed, continuing mission.
With the objective area clear, we can now demonstrate to you the maneuverability of the two Apache helicopters. To your left and right, you will now see a 180-degree wing over, the fastest and most efficient way of performing a helicopter U-turn. The Apache cruises at 140 miles per hour, but when responding to an urgent scenario, such as troops in contact, we can fly at 180 miles per hour, covering 3 miles per minute over the ground. The Apache has a combat range of 300 nautical miles, which can be enhanced with external fuel tanks. This gives us up to 4.5 hours flying time. Despite being large and heavy, the Apache is highly maneuverable, as you can see with this 270-degree wing over. Its combat weight can be over 10 tons, able to carry a combination of up to 16 Hellfire or Jagger missiles, 76 Hydra rockets, and 1,200 high-explosive cannon rounds. The fire control radar you see on top of the aircraft can detect 1,024 targets, including small drones, prioritize the most dangerous 256, shoot the most dangerous 16, and pass all others via a data network to other aircraft. The aircraft knows if it is being tracked by an enemy radar and can engage that radar with a Jagger missile, even beyond line of sight. Despite all the technology, the aircraft is still built around survivability. The crew are encased in a Kevlar composite armoured tub. The glass in front of the pilot is capable of protecting them from high explosive rounds or rocket-propelled grenades. All integral systems are duplicated, meaning if one is blown up, another somewhere else on the aircraft allows the flight to continue. The AH-64E can soak up hostile fire and return the crews home safely. The aircraft systems will detect any threat to the aircraft. The cannon can automatically track a moving target or will follow the line of sight of the pilot. We can now see the cannon move beneath the aircraft as the pilot looks around. All they need to do is look at the target, squeeze the trigger, and a deadly burst of 30mm cannon rounds will destroy the threat. The M230 chain gun fires 11 rounds per second of high explosive, armor-piercing ammunition. The Wildcat you see repositioning in front of you is a small, agile helicopter with a top speed of 178 miles per hour and a range of 250 nautical miles. It can carry a crew-served weapon of up to 50 caliber and has a powerful camera to look deep into enemy territory. The crew are qualified in coordinating all layers of the battle space to facilitate a variety of air-delivered munitions and artillery upon the enemy. This makes the Wildcat so much more than a utility helicopter. With the Wildcat running in and the Apache's positioning to your left and right, we can now introduce the crews. The Wildcat was flown by Captain Cy Bogue, WO1 Niall Sullivan, whose wife Tara and son Finn are in the audience today, and was crewed by Sergeant Danny Richmond. Gunship 1 was flown by Major Nick Birrell, whose mum Sue is here today, and Major Pete Steinberg, whose friends Dirk and his sons Christian and Rob are here today. Gunship 2 was flown by Major Rob McRae and Captain Bridge Najjar. No one came to see them. We present to you the 2025 Army Air Corps display team. please put your hands together for the crews and ground crew that got the aircrew here today. It's not just the crews of the aircraft who get them here, it takes every member of 1st Aviation Brigade Combat Team, the UK's only fighting aviation brigade. The team would like to thank our friends and family for their constant support. Please come to our stand and see us, and follow us on Instagram at Army Air Corps Display Team. Follow us for all future programmes and please tag us in any of your photos. Thank you, Duxford. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much indeed, Alex, and we're very privileged to see that display here. What's ended up as one of just 3 public shows at which this is going to be performed this year, and it's the first time that the Mark II Apache has given a public display in a flying programme in Britain. The Army Apaches and Wildcats, quite regular sights in this part of the world on training sorties. Sometimes they even use Duxford for that purpose. We're going to get our Battle of France and Battle of Britain 3 ships with the Blenheim, the Hurricane 1 and the Spitfire 1A airborne off the hole before we carry on with some more aerobatics. All of this action on the part of our 2 heavier attack aircraft being coordinated by the forward air controllers who've gone off to a holding point, guiding our bomber and shortly also the Spitfire onto the target. The R4D now orbiting around the target, very much in the sort of racetrack pattern that the likes of the US Air Force AC-47 spooky gunships adopted around targets during the Vietnam conflict. That's the heavy bomber done, but the Spitfire is able to bring its own armament to bear on our enemy position, so it's tipping in for an attack. And there it is, strafing the enemy, FGR-4. 500 miles an hour. And he'll be descending to somewhere around 500 feet before heading away from us with a barrel roll. Barrel rolling away from us, setting up a pass including in excess of 5 rolls along the line. He'll be rolling through no fewer than 1,890 degrees and then breaking away at some 600 miles an hour, pulling around 9G as he does so. Nathan Scheuer is a flying instructor on number 29 Squadron at RAF Coningsby, which acts as the operational conversion unit for the Typhoon force. He actually holds a bit of RAF history to his name because he was the last new pilot to be trained on the Tornado GR4. For a moment, I have a message for you. Due to some logistical challenges, there's a possibility, I'm afraid, that the red arrows will be unable to display this afternoon. We'll let you know once the Typhoon display has concluded. The Typhoon, for the RAF at present, and particularly topical right now are the air policing missions that the force undertakes on behalf of NATO. The Typhoon squadrons, based both at Coningsby and at RAF Lossiemouth in Scotland, have been regular contributors to Baltic and Icelandic air policing, and they've carried out multiple deployments to Eastern Europe since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Showing us the upper surface of the Typhoon initially, before entering into an inverted pass and pushing up into a negative G half Cuban. Once again, negative G, so uncomfortable for the pilots, but he's now pulling through. Slower, and Nathan will be bringing the Typhoon back in at just 120 knots, which is right on the lower limit for this aircraft, right just above its stalling speed. Of course, he's assisted very much in this by the digital fly-by-wire control system. But out of this, he'll be punching in the reheat on the two EJ200 engines and showing us just how quickly the aircraft can accelerate, because he'll be climbing into a slow speed loop. The Typhoons have been involved with on air policing. Just 6 days from the 7th of June, Typhoons stationed at Malbork in northern Poland conducted 6 scrambles against Russian aircraft on advanced air policing. So running in for one more time, down to the 100 feet, afterburners engaged, accelerating to some 600 miles an hour. Squadron leader Nathan Scheuer from number 29 Squadron with the Eurofighter Typhoon FGR-4. He's off back to his base at RAF Coningsby. Meanwhile,